Sarah Dickens there. Well, in a moment, we'll be hearing from our political editor, Felicity Evans. But first, let's head over to Westminster to our correspondent, Ione Wells, who's in Downing Street. And Ione, talk us through some of the political reaction to what's been announced for Wales today.
Evening, Jem. Well, one of the key things that we were looking out for in this spending review today was an indication of what cash Wales would get to replace EU funding. And one of the things that was talked about was the Shared Prosperity Fund. This is the pot of cash to replace EU aid for the poorest regions of the UK, something that Wales was a big recipient of. Now, the Chancellor said earlier that UK-wide spending towards this fund would at least match EU receipts. And the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Steve Barclay, also said that EU funding for Wales would also be matched.
Wales continues to get its full allocation of that EU funding, exactly as we promised at the election. What the Chancellor announced today was some additional funding, so we can then pilot new ways of working, looking at how we build a multi-year UK Shared Prosperity Fund in the next spending review next year. But in terms of this year's funding, Wales continues to receive its allocation in full, and we're honouring the manifesto commitment we gave to the Welsh public.
Now, EU aid programmes in Wales were previously worth about £375 million per year, and because they were allocated based on need, Wales received about 4 times more per person than the UK average. And because we didn't today receive a precise figure confirming that this would still be the case, the announcement did lead to some criticism from the Welsh Government.
All we know is that the UK government intends to pilot a scheme across the UK to the value of £220 million next year. When you bear in mind that Wales would normally expect to receive £375 million in 1 year, that clearly just pales into insignificance. Our funding from that £220 million could be in the region of just £12 million. So you can see why we'd be very concerned about that.
Now, the UK government have promised that Wales will not receive a penny less than it did from the EU. They've also said that more detail of this Shared Prosperity Fund will be announced at the next spending review. But in the meantime, opposition parties are urging the UK government to confirm both how much Wales will get from this fund and also to confirm that the proportion Wales gets of the Shared Prosperity Fund will still be decided based on need.
Ione, thank you very much. That was Ione Wells reporting from Westminster. Well, let's stay with the subject of the scheme that will replace EU aid money, because Ben Lake, Plaid Cymru MP, also urged the Chancellor to provide more clarity about how much Wales will get.